This episode is brought to you by Kimball's Cookies, custom cookies for every occasion. And by Matthews Arcade, custom-built arcade games. And Kinesi Shoes, feed the flame.
Herman, just turn it around. Like, do the flip thing. Like selfie. There you go. You're there. There you go. All right. So we have Herman Montes fought at the Grand Olympic more than any other fighter. The record can't be broken because it's not an arena anymore. Former WBC Super Bantamweight World Champion Paul Banke, and boxing author Gene Aguilera, and musician. And Gene, you have Hall of Fame.
What's up, Herman? How you doing, Herman? How you doing, Herman?
Thank you. How you doing, Champ?
How you doing, Herman? Okay.
Thank you. Yes. Of course.
Herman, your house looks good, man. I see it. I see you guys doing all the work, doing a lot of work, man.
Something going on. I just have to get rid of this COVID thing, and then we can invite people over.
Yeah, it's coming. We're getting closer and closer.
Come in, Herman.
Hopefully. So it was an obvious choice to bring Herman on board. We were going to have Gene on board. He's on the cover of your first book. And like I said, anybody in Southern California who doesn't know who Herman is doesn't know anything about boxing. And there's Herman on the first one. And Herman, you're like your stories of the Grand Olympic, can basically, they're legendary. And your boxing story is pretty interesting in itself as well. The way you were on the rise and kind of walked away from it.
Yeah, I left it soon, I think, and it was a good deal for me after, as I look at it today, No
regrets, right? No regrets. You were right there. You were right there. You were probably one fight away from a world title shot, realistically, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
wait a minute. I didn't tell me the story, Herman. What happened? I didn't hear the story. What happened, Herman?
Well, stood in it there and knocked out a big name, waited 6 months. I went to Indonesia, fought a guy that knocked out in 2 rounds, came back, got married, and thinking, okay, 6 months this is gone. It's passed. Mr. Maldonado was my manager at the time. He should have had me a world title fight or a big fight, and it was not happening. So it was time to get a job and just work, get a career, and just try to stay out there and stay busy rather than getting boxing and being hit in the head and that stuff too much. You know what I'm saying? My wife talked me out of it.
How were you? How old were you then, Henry?
25 years, going on 26 years old when I quit.
Wow.
Okay, wow. See, I didn't know that, John. I didn't know that, John.
He was. Herman was right there, literally ready to go. Let me ask you this as well. Like, how was the conversation with your manager? You pretty much put him in a position to get you big fights, and he couldn't deliver. So, how did that conversation go?
Well, it was kind of dry. It was like, Mr. Maldonado, I'm not going to continue. I'm going to be leaving the sport. I'm out of here. And he really couldn't argue with me. He says, okay, Mr. Montes, all right. What can I say? That's it. It was political for me. A lot of politics there,
Yeah, back then it was worse. There's only 2 world champions.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Gene, when you were doing the book,
wait, Herman, you were going 15 rounds back then. They were doing 15 rounds back then, right?
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy, man.
Nah, and he was in the mix. He was like in a contender. I don't know anybody else that has any kind of similar story, to be completely honest. Yeah. I really don't know anybody.
You know what? I don't mean to say the best story, but to me, I think it's one of the best. Because when I was growing up, Pepino was knocking people out all the time. And this guy, Herman, knocked him out in the 3rd round.
Well, Herman was the real deal. He was legitimately the real deal. Did you ever think of, like, moving on to a different manager, trying to do it yourself? Because, I would have felt slighted by my manager, not by anything else. He's the guy you got there, taking risks. He probably made a nice, a pretty penny off of you. And here you are, and you never really got to make, you got the benefit of it.
Yeah, I had 2 children on me. So I had a 1-year-old and I had a 4-year-old I had to think about. I went through a divorce. Wasn't a good divorce. And my wife at court, ex-wife to be, stated that she didn't want anything to do with the children. So I had to take them on. And my children, I love them. And today I have a relationship with them. But so that was things to consider. Is it this or is it that? Is it my love and passion in boxing and just move on, or do I go out there and get me a job and work and raise the kids and that thing? So it was a toss.
No, that's what I like that. I like that.
So, Gene, you got this book ready to go, and you got to put someone on the cover. What led you to Herman? What made you decide to use Herman for the cover?
You know what? Herman, he's always had my respect as a fighter.
Thank you.
He walked away from the sport that he loves in his prime, and I used to see Herman training at the Main Street gym there with his dad and his brother John, and I used to see these guys at the Olympic. I was there that night, the sold-out crowd when he knocked out Pepino Cuevas, a Hall of Famer.
Wow.
Pepino Cuevas was a WBA welterweight champion. He had 11 defenses of his title, John. 11 defenses. That's incredible.
No,
And
great champion. Great champion.
Qualifications up, all across the board. Pepino Cuevas and Herman and him, man, they went toe to toe. They were rocking each other. And Herman, they kind of threw simultaneously left hooks at each other. And Herman landed first. And Pepino went down like he was shot. And I remember when I was, me and Herman always used to say hello in the gym. Maybe just one of the, the nod, nod of the head. And when I was putting my first book together in 2014, I called Herman. I think I saw you, Herman, at one of the fights at maybe in Ontario or something, and we exchanged numbers. And he was just like friendly, nice guy. I called him up, Gene, come on down the house, and we were like friends like for forever since that day.
That was the same feeling I had. It's like I've known Gene for many years. I felt comfortable with Gene.
Yeah, yes. And Herman, we went into his man cave there at his house where he used to live, and we just sat there and drank a couple beers, and he showed me his collection, and I scanned some pictures, and he told me this great story right before the Cuevas fight. His dad, who was a Hall of Fame trainer, cornerman, John Montes Sr., his dad told him, Mijo, go out there, kill or be killed.
Yeah.
So
slapped me on the rear and said, "Kill or be killed, son." Out I went.
Herman went out there and he took care of business, and it was amazing. It was like New Year's Eve there at the Olympic Auditorium. The place went crazy.
And that's the Olympic. That is the Olympic. That's the equivalent of I don't know what at the time. It was the big place to do it. He had the world at his fingers, and it just kind of dropped off. And Herman, it turned out perfectly for you. Had a good life, clearly. Let me ask you this: what has your involvement in boxing been since? Anything at all?
Well, it's been at a standstill kind of right now because of COVID. But prior to that, Anda Moniz and myself were involved in having a youth boxing club here in the city of Jurupa Valley Youth Boxing Club. It's been closed for about close to a year and a half, 2 years now because of the COVID situation. But hopefully we can get it going again because it's really a great feeling paying the sport forward to young boys and girls out there who get out of school and have nothing really to do after they get their homework done. They want to go into the gym and learn a defense, learn how to learn how to defend themselves, that type of thing. So it was great teaching kids, giving them what I learned, as a child myself, as a young kid.
And then Mondo's his story is another one. I lose sleep over poor Mondo's situation. He was a silver medalist in the Olympics. He got screwed worse than anybody in current day as far as a world title. I don't care what anybody says. That is a disgrace what happened to him in Mexico. And not only that, the other problem is this. Mondo did it when there was 2 world titles. If he was fighting now, he'd be a 6-time world champion. And Herman would have got his title shot because there's 4 titles to fight for back then. And if you had a unified champion, you have 1 champion, you got to wait 3 years to get a title shot. But poor Mondo, he deserved, he should be, I don't even know where to begin what he got, robbed from him in Mexico. And all of us know the story. Gene, maybe you could tell it best. I don't tell it well enough, but
I like that, John. I like John. Johnny from back east.
That story pisses me off to this day, and it's not even. It pisses me off like I was him.
Yeah, tell a story, Gene.
Yeah, let me tell a story. You know, obviously I didn't go to that fight, but I saw it on TV over here at closed circuit. And since then, since 1975, since that fight in Acapulco, I must have watched it at least 100 times on YouTube. And I used to have it on the VHS cassette. I used to watch it all the time. But that fight, Mondo Muniz in Acapulco beat the world champion and one of the greatest world champions of all time, Montequianapolis. He beat him from pillar to post. I mean, Napoles had to go to the hospital afterwards. He was bleeding from his eyes, from the nose, from the mouth. He looked like hamburger meat.
He got robbed, right? He got robbed. Armando got robbed, right?
Gino tell you.
And check this out. So they stopped the fight all of a sudden in the 9th round, and the ref goes over to talk to the WBC officials there in the front row, and they're talking for at least 10 minutes. And Mondo's standing in the corner, going, "What's going on?" He's just standing there. Nobody knows. Napoles can barely stand up on his corner, and then all of a sudden, you know, usually the ring announcer would announce the results, right? But so the mic drops down in the middle like the old days, right? And the referee gets the mic and announces, we due to a headbutt in the 3rd round committed by Armando Muniz, we are giving the fight to Montequianapolis by technical decision. And it was the worst robbery in the history of boxing in my eyes.
Yeah, first of all, there was no headbutt. Number 2, if there was, it would go to the cards, and Mondo would have won the decision. Number 3, they should have stopped it for the cuts.
Right? Yes.
Herman, what is your take? Herman, what is your take on it?
It should have been a TKO all day long, and not only that, Mondo told me that he was getting hit below the belt all night long.
They let it go.
Never got 1 point, not one warning, not 1 point deduction to the champ Napoles.
And you know the funny thing, he wasn't even Mexican, and Mondo was the Mexican in Mexico, and he got robbed. And it was a joke.
No, but he's from Cuba, and they love him from Mexican. The Mexican people love him. Let me ask you a question. Gene, he came to Cuba. The Mexican people loved him to death. That was their boy. Gene, is that found on YouTube?
Yes. It's on YouTube. Now they fought twice. Now let me tell you, they fought twice.
Yeah.
The second time the rematch was done like about 4 months later, and that was in Mexico City. And Mondo said he trained hard, but the altitude over there got him winded, tired him out, and he kind of faded there. And it was a unanimous decision victory by Montequianapolis. And Mondo says, "Hey, fair and square, he got me on the second fight." But
I'm gonna YouTube that, Paul. I'm gonna check that out.
Watch the first one, Paul. But Mondo says that the first fight was his life, and they took it away from him.
No, they really did. I mean, they changed his whole course of his life. I mean, he's not a former world champion because of it, and he really is. I mean, it's an absolute travesty. Herman, what about you in boxing? What is your biggest regret other than walking away early? Do you have anything, if you could do it again, you would in your boxing career?
My regret would be is to have a world championship belt hanging over the mantle in the living room, something like that. Other than that, I mean, boxing was okay. I mean, I didn't make a great deal of money, so it wasn't my time. I wasn't born on the right day, I guess you could say. But other than that, I can't really speak bad about it. If I could do it again, I would do it tomorrow. I love the sport. I like the conditioning part. Always walking around feeling in great shape was a good thing. I mean, I'm not in bad shape, but I wish I was there again. Or if I could do it again, like I said, I'd do it tomorrow.
And then also, if you were fighting nowadays, you'd have the advantage of 4 world titles. Your brother would be a world champion as well nowadays with 4 world titles floating around. Yep. And no doubt about that one either. And I always think about that all the time when they say this guy's an 8-time world champion. No, he's not. Not when those guys fought over 2 belts and there's 4 nowadays and they make up new titles for everybody else. It's a joke actually when they compare it. Like you see all those belts Mayweather had. How many of them are just created for him? Or even the Canelo, they made a brand new WBC title belt for the fight. I mean, it's not another world championship. It's a nice belt you could win. But, they'll add it to their totals and they'll be 29-time world champions, but they're far from it, in my opinion.
Hey, Wapo, I just want to say something about Herman. Due to the political climate in boxing, Herman never got a chance to fight for a title, which I think is criminal. And when I made you were asking me about the decision on my book. I want to get back and answer that.
Yeah.
This picture that I somehow I got. I don't even think Herman had it. I think I got it from another source. But he's there. Here, let me just share it with you guys. He's right here, and you got Jimmy Lennon Sr. right here. You got John Thomas, the ref, the great fighter from the 40s. You got Herman raising up his hand. Look at it, victory. And then there's his dad. There's Herman's dad right over here. You can barely see him right here. And so the picture told a story to me. And a lot of people go, well, hey, you could have put a world champion there. I said, no, my choice was this one because of the story it told and Herman was here in his 8th fight at the Olympic Auditorium. And, to me, it was an honor to put him on the cover. And since he did not get that title fight, this is the closest thing we can do for him.
Thank you.
I like that.
Thank
right
you.
On, G. I like that.
Thank you.
Herman, how many times did you fight at the Olympic? It's more than anybody ever. I know that.
I want to say 24 times. I fought about 3 amateur fights prior to turning professional, and then I fought professionally about 21 times there. Yes.
You fought 3 amateur fights at the Olympic Auditorium?
Yeah. Fought amateur fights there. You didn't have to use any headgear or any of that stuff in those days, or a shirt.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Herman. My trainer is Victor Valenzuela. You fought Victor in amateur, right?
I did not fight Victor, no.
No, but he's a big fan. When I was going to Main Street Gym back in the day, you talk about Herman. I thought you guys fought amateurs or something. No. Okay. But you always talk about the Montes. I remember your dad. Man, your dad's a bad boy too, man. You know what I'm saying? And I remember John,
his brother.
My dad.
Johnny's walking in the gym. I swear to God, Herman. I tell you this. I told John this all the time. I just walk out, I was like 40 years old, walking, putting my wraps on. I see John. I wave at him a couple times. He was mad dog me. Why you mad dog me, dude? I'm just like wrap my hand, man. I'm all happy like a little kid. That's how I want this, wrap my hands. A couple times he said, he's always mad dog me all the time. I went there 4 or 5 times. He kept on mad dog me. I went there a lot of times, but he always mad dog me. John Montes. That's John. That was John for you. You know what I'm saying? If you know John,
You wouldn't see me mad dogging you though.
huh?
You wouldn't see me mad dogging you though.
But John,
so then, Gene, you have a second book out as well. Tell us about that one.
Yes. Okay. The first book was more all the great fighters at the Olympic Auditorium. It was more the Mexican American, the more Chicano guys, and everybody would I did a lot of book signings, and Herman, thank you for coming to so many of them, and appreciate that. Herman was at so many, and I'm forever grateful to him. But people would always ask, hey, Gene, what about Olivares? What about Julio Cesar Chavez? What about Salvador Sanchez? So I said, okay, I'm going to make book number 2 right here. And that's it's got Palomino there on the cover and his comeback when he was 48 years old. And he fought Rivera here, who had just finished fighting Oscar De La Hoya a few months earlier.
I remember that fight well. I was at the fight with Duran at the Garden on the undercard of I was a little kid. I was 8 years old, I think, when Mike Weaver fought Larry Holmes and Palomino fought Duran.
Yes.
I really truly believe that Carlos was going to beat Duran. And whenever I see him, we talk about what he did wrong. He just fought the wrong fight. I don't know why he tried to get inside with Duran. He thought he'd be the bigger guy. That bothers me too to this day. I think Carlos, if he would have fought the right fight, could have actually beat Duran that night, and he got stopped. But Herman,
John,
what do you
at
think?
that fight? John, you were at that fight?
My uncle worked. He had the pony shoes, and they had Holmes and everyone else. And I was at the fight when, and it was the co-main event pretty much. But Weaver Holmes was a throwaway. Nobody thought Mike was going to be competitive, but he definitely was. To that point, it was probably Larry's toughest fight. And I was there as a little kid. I think I was either 8 or 10 years old, whatever I was. but I went like my uncle got me in, and I
In
remember watching.
that's in the 70s. The 70s, right? Or 80s?
78 or 80. Was it? What? It was 78 or 80.
79. No, it was 79.
So I was 9 years old. I remember
Yeah.
it was in the summer at Madison Square Garden. I remember like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Literally like it was yesterday. I got like they used to have these real big hot dogs at the Garden. I got 2 of those, a Coke and a popcorn, and I couldn't wait for the main event. But I really was there to see Palomino beat Duran. And I remember like my whole family, like, oh, we think he has a shot. We think he has a shot. I couldn't wait. I was devastated. That bothered me for 6 months.
How do you box around and stayed outside and kept them off him with a jab and worked the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen. I wish how could they not have told him that then? And then
Wait. Now, what did you say? John, hey, Herman, what did you say now? What did you say, Herman, about the jab?
He stayed on the outside and just used his jab and threw combinations throughout the fight rather than getting inside with Roberto Duran. He would have had better chance on defeating Duran.
You know what? Carlos told me, hey, Guapo, Carlos and Paul, Carlos told me that of his defeats, I think he only had 5 defeats.
I don't think he had that many. Did he have 3?
Maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
He said the only true loss he had was against Duran. He goes, that was one fight I got out hustled. Duran did a lot of feinting, and he'd be Carlos would go look for him at this one spot, and he wouldn't be there. So,
and he fought the wrong fight, like Herman said. I don't know why Carlos is trying to work his way inside. He was the longer guy. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in the dressing room. I can't believe anybody told him to get inside. But he said whenever I see him, he says he knows he fought the wrong fight. Yeah. What do you guys think? Could he have beaten Duran? If, like Herman thinks, you said he would have had a better shot. You think he could have actually pulled it off? Herman, you think he would have pulled it off, Herman?
Yes, he would have pulled it off. Had he just been out there using that jab, staying away, and throwing combinations when he had to, he would have had more of a chance to defeat Duran. Duran would have been frustrated, I say.
I agree. I mean, and you know better than me, but I agree completely with that. What do you think, Gene?
Hey, you know what? I think Carlos could have fighting the perfect fight. Anybody could win on any given night. If Carlos would have fought the perfect fight, yeah, he would have pulled it off. But you know it's hard for me to understand is how a fight like that would be on the semi-main. I mean, that's a ball busting main event all day long,
Well, it was at Madison Square Garden, so they had to fill 20,000 seats.
Yeah.
And Holmes was fighting somebody they didn't think was a real threat in Weaver. So, they had to put a good, strong co-main event, and that was it. I mean, that was the fight I wanted to see.
Herman, did you spar with Palomino?
No, I didn't spar with him. No. He was from Orange County, Westminster area. I don't know where he trained at.
Jack McCoy's gym, right?
Yeah, Westminster.
Yes. So I was at Main Street Gym all the time. Mostly, yeah.
And then, guys, after that fight at Duran, Carlos retired, and he retired for 18 years. And I remember 18 years, and he came back when he was 47. Wow. He called me up. He says, hey, called me on a Saturday morning. I had a hangover. I was hurting, Paul. and he goes, what's happening, G? He called me at 9 a.m. He goes, hey, what are you doing? I go, I'm just getting up. He goes, meet me at the Westminster Gym. But you got to do it quick. He goes, meet me there in like half an hour. I said, boom. So I was down the road. I met him there, and I helped him put his gloves on and give. What's going on? He goes, I'll just get a little exercise. We give him his mouthpiece. We give him some water. Nobody else was there. Just a few of the guys, and he was sparring. And I go, what's going on? He goes, I'm making my comeback. I go, what? 47 years old. He fought 4 times, 4 knockouts. The 5th fight was against Wilfredo Rivera of Puerto Rico. And he had not fought. He got a little spat with a promoter in his comeback, and he hadn't fought in 7 months. Then he comes down with an earache that like the day before. Wow. So he was off. And not only that, I mean, he had a little ring rust, so to speak. And he lost a unanimous decision, but it was a very close one.
And Rivera had beaten, I'm not mistaken, he had a real tough fight with Pernell Whitaker. He fought him twice, right?
Yeah, and also De La Hoya. He just finished.
What Rivera are we talking about? What Rivera?
Wilfredo.
Oh,
He was a good fighter in the like
Welterweight.
90s. He was a good
Welterweight.
fighter. Yeah,
Good
yeah.
contender. Good contender.
he really gave Pernell Whitaker a run for his money in the first one, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken. They had a rematch, right?
I think so. Not
Yeah,
not
I remember that. I thought Pernell beat him both times, but it was close enough to give him a rematch. And then Rivera parlayed that into the De La Hoya fight. So over 3 fights, he made a little bit of money for himself. And then he disappeared, kind of. He fought Carlos.
Yeah.
But I was a big step up for Carlos at the time.
Yeah.
You know, but I'll tell you, I mean, if Carlos wasn't 47 or 48 at the time,
Yeah.
he definitely would have beat Rivera, in my
Yeah,
opinion. And he didn't do poorly in the fight, if I remember right.
No, it was close. It was close. And Carlos had a 7-month layoff. I mean, how do you do that at 48? You know, and then earache.
It's unheard of. It's unheard of. People don't do that.
That's right.
People don't do that. That's too long of a layoff. 18 years later? Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I was going to tell you guys that now I'm working on my 3rd book. It'll be out later this year. And I've got the great Paul Banke in there. He's featured in there. Herman's in there. I got a great story on Herman about how he retired. But Banke, I've got 2-3 pages on Banke. You guys are going to love it.
Awesome.
Good. Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, and you could write. I mean, Herman, you need a book by yourself. I mean, with that story, to be honest with you, that's a good
John, why don't you do the deal? John, hook him up with the deal. You got the connections, John. You hook him up.
How about Gene? Gene is standing right there, like, and he's a great author. I mean, what can't come back with what? If Gene, Gene really doesn't write books about individuals, but I mean, if you did write one, or you could do one about like Mondo needs a movie.
Mondo.
Yeah, there's so many guys.
You could do it on Palomino. And then my compadre Ruben Olivares is always asking me to do one, and I just right now I just can't, you know.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, how's Armando doing? Is he all right? He's okay.
Armando Muniz?
Yeah,
he's doing okay. He's doing okay.
And what about Rudy? Rudy Tez?
Rudy Tez is hanging in there. I talked to him about a month ago.
Yeah, Rudy's
hanging in there. He's a Palm Springs now.
Palm Springs, yes.
He's living large now, I guess, huh?
So, Herman, after boxing, what did you do? What did you go into after boxing when you got a job? What was it?
I started to work in a hospital as a maintenance engineer type work. It was more mostly just basically, repairing items in the hospital and what have you, beds, just things like that. I also worked for the city of Paramount at the time, and I was running a boxing program for the city.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with your background,
Herman, when you say you retired, you had 2 kids. No one can say nothing. You had 2 kids. You know what boxing wasn't doing. We understand that. You got to. I mean, you're more of a man to get trade.
Easy. My parents helped me. My grandparents helped me at the time, so I'm grateful for them. My father and his wife helped me. There was my family who stood up and gave me a hand, which I'm grateful for. So it wasn't an easy road. It wasn't, but I was able to get through it.
No, and it turned out okay in the end. And like you said, I mean, you didn't take any more punishment. There's if you look at it that way, I would have liked to see you get your world title shot, to be completely honest. And I think you would definitely have that belt over the fireplace like you talk about. Yeah. But it is what it is, and life worked out for you. It sounds like.
Hey, Herman, what did you think? Herman, what did you think about the Olympic Auditorium, that movie we saw at the theater the other day?
That was excellent. It was like a documentary to me, and it was interesting. Everything that they showed there, it was interesting. I loved it.
Yeah, it was good. It brought back made me feel like a little kid. The rollerball, the wrestling, wrestling. I brought up doing all the old wrestling. I remember the rollerball was no joke back then. You guys remember that?
Before I even thought of being a boxer, I used to go to roller derby games. My grandparent would take me to the roller derby games and to some wrestling matches. And then here I am boxing at the Olympic Auditorium years later.
That's great. That's great. Hey, Herman, you got to get announced by Jimmy Lynn Sr. is awesome, right?
Yeah, it was wonderful. I love that,
Yeah.
He was calling me a knockout artist at the beginning when I was fighting and I was knocking the fighters out. And he said, not Herman, Kid Montes, knockout artist. It was like great to hear his
Spanish was so damn good. His Spanish was great. He could roll his tongue.
His son came in and took over, and he's just as great as his dad.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yep. his son announced Paul when he won his world title at the Forum.
Right, right.
Yeah.
He goes Showtime HBO. He's big now. He's big. Jimmy's big.
Wow.
So,
Happy
Gene,
Hall of
Famer.
anything in closing you want to discuss about the books?
I'm working on my third book, and it'll be out hopefully by the end of the year. And I got Herman in there. And, I got that great story about his retirement.
Thank you. Jim.
What he went through, and then I've got Paul in there, like three pages of Paul, and about his great fights, his trilogy with Zaragoza.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, and also how he started off, Paul started off, and then also how he ended. So
Hey, G. Oh, we can't do it. We're on video right now. I can't. How's the book? It's hard having books, huh, Gene? It's hard.
it is. It's hard to write.
That's a different business. That's a different video talk. We can't do that.
That's a different story for a different day. But
Yeah.
Gene told you how to work it. You can do well with it. You got to be creative. Books aren't what they were when we were, younger. I mean, you don't buy books anymore in general because everything's online or whatever the case is. You don't see bookstores anywhere. So it's not like you used to buy a book to go on a plane with or anything like that, or to read it. Now you pretty much download it somewhere, and that's that.
Well, there's still Barnes and Noble, at the big malls. They still have that, in the little neighborhood bookstores. There's still a few, and so, I do it the old-fashioned way. I keep some in my car. When anybody calls me, I meet them somewhere and take care of them, like Godinez, Paul.
Alfred.
Alfred. I meet him. I meet him over there at the donut shop right off the 60. And he picks up some books. And how's Alfred doing?
He's doing all right. Talked to her this morning. She's doing good.
Guys, let's do this again, but let's get Carlos and Mike Weaver on here. I want to talk about that night at the Garden. I want to ask Carlos what the hell he was thinking.
Okay,
when he's on
Mike
here.
Hey, first of all, we gotta say hi to Mick. Where's Mick at? The guy who runs this thing.
Mike, the producer guy.
They call him Mick on Facebook, but it's Michael.
Mick is like his screen name. Mike, are you there? He's camera shy. He ain't coming back.
I just want to share this too, you guys. This is the program that I went to the fight at the Forum, the Fabulous Forum, when Banke won the world title.
Wow.
There he is, man. Paul Banke, man. The real Paul Banke.
So Herman, Herman. Oh, we can't talk on this, can we? Herman, so how's your house doing? What's so you got a lot of work to do. You're almost done with. You're almost done with it now.
Get there. I'm about 90% finished.
Looks good, Herman.
Yeah, it looks great.
Little by little, yeah, coming along. Thank you, guys.
You got a lot of neighbors around you? Yes or no?
Yes, now I do. At the beginning, when we first got there, they were just starting to build around us. It's a big community that's brand new, and it's KB homes, and they're growing, and more are coming in. There are a lot of homes up here at Highland.
How long have you been there?
Since October, so about 7
Oh, you just got there now.
Yeah.
What city are you in?
I'm in High Grove. It's in Riverside County yet, by kind of like Grand Terrace area.
Because you were down the hill from Mauricio Herrera, for a while, right?
Yeah, right there in Europa Valley. Was there for 25 years, and one morning we got up, my wife and I, and looked at each other and said, "Let's sell. Let's take a chance and see what we do." It was sold in 2 weeks. So from that point on, we lived in an RV because we didn't have a home yet, and my wife wanted to see what the economy was going to do with the housing and stuff. So we waited about a year and then found this brand new home here and waited for them to build it and moved into it. We're happy. We love it.
How long were you in RV?
We were in an RV for a whole year, from October to October, actually.
Wow.
How'd you like that, Herman?
It was an experience, because we lived when it snowed up there, and we were at San Bernardino Mountains, and it was snowing. That was a great experience, and we wanted to find out if our trailer or RV was capable of putting up with snow as far as the warmth in that. No, not all there. I mean, it's not made for snow. So next time I'm going to buy one that has better insulation.
So what you're saying, you freeze your ass off.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, I can't thank you enough. It was, trust me when I tell you, my absolute pleasure to have both you on. You can come back whenever you want. Gene, we'd like to get you back. Herman, anytime.
Thank you.
You both have a lifetime of stories, and you have nothing but my respect, and I'm sure Paul Banke feels the same way.
Hey, John, let me ask you a question. If you bring Mike Weaver, bring these guys on, how many people can you bring on?
You get 6. I mean, I want to bring Carlos and Mike Weaver on, and we could get, stories and opinion of Gene and Herman about that night. And I was there, believe it or like I said, I was 9 years old. But and it's funny, you always ask me, Paul Banke, the biggest fight I've been to. I was at like Trinidad Hopkins. I've been to 5,000 cards. That was my favorite by 100 miles. I was really, 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 really looking forward to the Palomino Duran fight for whatever reason. And, I left disappointed, like I said, but, it's crazy. I still think of that fight to this day. I mentioned it way too much for something I was 40
Gene
years
Herman, Gene Herman, I don't know if you know, but you remember James Scott when he used to be on CBS 8, the fights in prison? Do you remember that? James Scott fights?
Yeah, yes.
I live a town over, and my neighbor across the street was a prison guard. I got to go to those.
Wow.
I was at 2 of those. And like the other side, I was 8 years old and like 9 years old.
Didn't let you in, bro, in prison like that, bro?
Oh yeah, they had like the other side was like the families of like the TV crew. Only one side was the inmates. And Paul Banke loves the one story I tell. So all they could serve was lemonade, apples, and pudding. I guess for whatever reason, they didn't want anybody trying to bring a vice in to cut the bars. So I'm in line and I'm a little kid. And one of the guys that's cooking in the kitchen goes to the other kid. Hey, Leroy, did you piss in the pudding again? Ooh. And I will never forget it as long as I live. And Paul Banke thinks it's the funniest thing ever. But I mean, I never thought anything of it as a little kid.
How's that pudding?
I ate the apples and the lemonade. And why wouldn't he piss in the lemonade, not the pudding? But guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We'll definitely have you guys back. We'll talk about it. Maybe, we'll talk to Mike and Carlos, get them on, and we'll go right to work, and it'll tie into the other book.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me take a picture, guys. Let me take a picture. Okay, got it. Okay.
And this was definitely the best. This was definitely the best. Paul Banke, this was definitely the best podcast we've done yet.
Well, let me get a picture again. Make sure. Hang on. It's way over time.
All right, smile.
I got it.
Hey, you guys you didn't even comment on the picture in my background. That's Ruben Olivares right there.
Yeah,
Ruben.
I noticed it before. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Ruben right there.
Great fighter. I loved Ruben Olivares.
Yeah, my compadre.
The liver was dynamite.
Yeah,
what's that, Herman?
The left hook to the liver that he had was dynamite.
Yeah, Ruben Olivares.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, do you remember Jaime Garza? Of course you do.
Yeah, I do. I saw him fight, but you know what? He's I tried to get a hold of him to interview him, and he's in Texas, and he doesn't. I don't think he wants to be bothered.
Yeah, I heard some stories too.
Boxing, he doesn't want anything to do.
How old is he? How old is he now?
He's got to be like Herman's age.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not that old.
62 years old.
Oh, he's a young man. Okay, so he.
I heard he's in Texas. He's after. You don't want to be wrong. Yeah.
He didn't want to be bothered. He didn't want to be bothered.
He's a bad boy. He can hit. That guy can hit.
Yes, he could. Yep.
All right, so look. All right, guys, we're going too long. We're out of here for real.
Okay.
Paul Banke gets mad if we go too long.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. With you guys. All right.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Guapo. Thank you, Herman.
You're welcome, and we'll bring you back real soon.
I'm ready.
Give me a call, Gene. Give me a call.
Okay.
Okay.